Todo el mundo, por favor, atento, y un aplauso muy fuerte para recibir a Vladimir Foltin.
Gracias. Muchas gracias, muchas gracias. Hola España, hola Cuatro Vientos, hola Aviación General. And that's my Spanish. Over. I will be talking to you in English today, so please bear with me. I will do my best to speak slowly so you can understand. I'm from EASA. You've heard my name. I work in EASA for more than a decade, and now I work in general aviation. So now general aviation is now my job in EASA. We are a pan-European agency with headquarters in Germany, in Cologne, and we have something like 800 people working on all aspects of aviation. We certify big planes, we certify helicopters, we certify the new electrical VTOL aircraft, we certify sailplanes, we are certifying the large airship, 60-ton payload, so all ranges. We are helping to regulate your licenses. We are helping to regulate airspace rules. So EASA has a lot of say in what you do and how you fly. But there is a big portion of people in EASA who are general aviation people, like I am. I'm a passionate glider pilot. I'm a commercial pilot. I did a lot of flying in general aviation planes. Also, outside of my home country, Slovakia, I love flying in various places. So I hope you share the same passion and you will enjoy the presentation. We are not bureaucrats in EASA. There are good people who are making the general aviation better for future. I will be talking about the GA voice, general aviation voice in EASA. And I will tell a little bit more about iconspicuity and ADSL, something Angel was not having in his presentation. I will tell you the story, how difficult it was to manage that we have ADSL and what are our future plans with it, because we don't stop there. So, in the past, we've had general aviation roadmap. A lot of good objectives. We want digital aviation. We want to benefit from improvements in safety. A lot of good things happened in EASA over the last 10 years. And these are the results. Now you know that as a pilot owner, you can maintain your aircraft. It was not possible before. Now you can do the simple maintenance of a simple plane as pilot owner. That's Part M Light. We allow instrument flying in a similar way than in US. So you have very few hours, just the training, what is necessary, and we are training general aviation instrument pilots because of basic instrument rating. We allow now training in declared organizations. So there is no certification. You just declare to EASA, we will do training for sailplanes or training for motorplanes, and yes, we note, and then you can start flying. Later, they come and they check, yes, are you doing well? This is Declared Training Organization, DTO. We have developed Part 21 Light, so the manufacturers of airplanes like Flight Design, which was on the screen before, they can declare design against the industry standard. So there is very little involvement. EASA just comes for 1 or 2 days. They do the random check of critical things before the first flight, but everything is done by the manufacturer completely. There is no EASA involvement. Very little involvement of EASA. And in the end, we just issue the restricted type certificate for this aircraft. and that can be used everywhere in Europe. So there is a lot of good things. And we are also working on things that will allow airports like Cuadros Vientos have instrument approach procedure based on GNSS without introducing controlled airspace. So this is the work on all-weather operations and EGNOS. We want this to be spread around all Europe. The potential is more than 1,500 aerodromes can have instrument procedure as a safety net for pilots in bad weather. Imagine you are trained for IFR, basic instrument rating, you suffer of the bad weather, and you fly, and you know that there is a GNSS procedure for you at that small aerodrome, which will bring you down, and you can land in VFR conditions. So this is what we are doing in EASA. But a lot on the plate. We do a lot of safety promotion. We meet people, we come to events like this, but we have also beautiful Sunny Swift, which is translated to Spanish. There are 30 plus cartoons. It's typically one page, and it's in all Spanish. So you can use it in the club for free. Just use it, download it from EASA website. There are interesting, simple messages for your young people to understand the risks during the flying. This is what we are doing in EASA. My invitation to you, we have a general aviation community. Just write EASA General Aviation Community. This is the landing page. Look, the number is old. We have now nearly 15,000 people in this community, and you can ask the question. You can ask the question in Spanish. I have this problem with my license. There is 50,000 people who can read it, and there are hundreds who can answer the question. All EASA people are following, in general aviation, we follow this web page, and if we can help, we are answering the question. So you have a contact point, general aviation community. If you have questions, use it, ask the question. It's easier than to write email to EASA, because there are many more people who can answer. We do it in this country this way, and it can help you to understand. Many EASA colleagues, as I said, are general aviation people. I give you a few examples. Head of Safety Promotion, John, he's a top communicator. He was grown at General Aviation Airport. Wendell is our pilot. He's pilot for GA. He's pilot for gliders. Alan Leroy, Alan is the top technical person in EASA. He reports directly to the top director. He's general aviation person. He's head of innovation, and he flies his own airplane. He's the same person as you are. So we have a very good representation of GA in EASA to the top level. We really love general aviation. We recognize the old mistakes we did in the past. In the past, we regulated across the board. Similarly, we recognize that we need to have a full proportionality and full respect of diversity of the general aviation. We have small planes, we have bigger planes, we have sailplanes, we have balloons. We need to regulate per sector, not the same way across all sectors. And the question is, are we winning the battle with administration and bureaucracy in EASA? And this is the answer. We don't. There are still a lot of little things here and there, and we are discovering them every day. And I know you have the same experience here in Spain. So let's not resign, let's work together, just try to fix these things. So how we could resolve this problem of complex regulations and having licensing, aerodromes, ATMNS, operations, airspace rule, certification of aircraft, all different rules. We need to take the horizontal approach. General aviation needs a voice in EASA, and we have very new project which is now called GA Flight Path 2030 Plus. So we are preparing for the GA of the future. What you see on the screen is the vision. We don't want more rules. We want minimum rules which are understandable to people, but we will do a lot of communication and safety promotion. We want better safety culture, because who can do the safety in GA? It's the pilot. Pilot is the safety element in general aviation. There is no organization like in airlines that prepares his flight plan. We are preparing our flight plan. We are preparing our flight. We have to check our airplane before we fly. We don't have professionals behind to do all that work for us. We are alone. So we need a lot of safety culture. What we want to do, we want to take all the innovations into the cockpit of GA. Eye conspicuity is a prime example. We talk about smartphones to be your transponder. And that's completely crazy for FAA. They think, oh, that's not possible. And we are confident it's possible. So we really want to embrace new technologies and demonstrate that they could be safer and provide added value to aviators. We also want to encourage more inclusiveness into the sport, into the flying. Here I need to ask you one question, audience. Please raise your hand if you are younger than 30. And don't cheat. Don't cheat. Who is younger than 30? Look around. That's our problem. That's problem for EASA. That's problem for you. We need young people in the sport. Otherwise, who will fly the planes? Who will control them? We will have all the new eVTOLs, beautiful new planes, which will be emission-free, but they need to be flown by people. They need to be operated. They need to be designed by engineers who are aviation passionate. If you are an engineer and you are not passionate in aviation, you can switch to something else. You will do the machinery. But if you are passionate in aviation, you will stay most of your life in aviation. And this is the magic of aviation. And general aviation is the starting point. Without GA, there is no future for aviation. So who we are? The new project, new flight path, is led by Alain Leroy, who is the champion. He represents as a voice. I am the humble project manager of this project in EASA, so I have opportunity to be part of it. And we have Rafael, she is a great support and helping us to organize events, meetings, to communicate with our stakeholders. But we are not alone. We have several colleagues in various domains. Sometimes they are doing human resources, but they are pilots. And they are our network in EASA, helping us to convey and communicate the message about proportionate approach to general aviation. So one can ask why we are doing, why we need this kind of horizontal project. We have 2 documents in EASA. Don't read them all. They are hundreds of pages each. But there are 5 or 6 pages about general aviation. Go, download, and see what are the safety risks in GA. If I ask you, what are the safety risks? Look at the accidents and incidents involving sailplanes. There is a statistics. You will spend half an hour reading it, but you will understand where the risks are when you fly. If you look at aeroplanes, these are the top risks. Do you know them? Do you know the top 3? Upset, collision with terrain, airborne collision, eye conspicuity, we discussed. These are the top 3 risks. The top 3 killers for our people, for our community. Do we know them? Just go and visit. We are reviewing these documents every year, and we are updating with the latest information. It's worth of spending half an hour reading those documents. But there are also other challenges. Safety is not only thing which is pushing flying to the ground. As I said, do we have a future workforce in aviation? Are we ready to employ new technology? Example of electric aircraft. It's impossible to fly them because there are no rules for them. Now there are schools having pipistrel aircraft and other electric aircraft in their fleet, but there are authorities saying, yeah, we don't know this, we need to see, you cannot use it for training. They are quiet, they have they are zero emission if electricity is zero emission. They cannot be used for training. How good they could be for reducing the noise around the airfields so that our neighbors in the vicinity of airports are not calling us Sunday noon, oh, stop flying because I have my lunch. We need to allow these planes to operate. But also there is a climate problem. The young people, they have this perception everything is bad in aviation, we cannot fly. No, we need to allow these new planes because this is what young people are interested. They are interested in drones, they are interested in paragliding, which is, by the way, very popular in Spain. They are interested to fly electric plane. So we need to make it happen. Otherwise, we will have no young people there. What we will be doing in EASA, and that's for the years to come. It's not for tomorrow, it's for years to come. We have our plan. So everything we do, it's in a big document which is describing what EASA can do. This is our mandate from national aviation authorities. They tell us, yes, we are happy, and also industry, we are happy you can work on this task. There is chapter about general aviation. Do not read it all. Just read these 3 pages related to GA, and it will give you impression what EASA plans in general aviation. And now I will be a little bit more precise. These are the 4 objectives or key topics our management accepted, endorsed for the near future to be developed by the GA Flight Path 2030 Plus project. I will start with declared as default. Our ambition is, and we need to develop one by one, that everything related to personal flying, flying for private flying, needs to be possible in declared system. Meaning there is no certification, no approval, declared system, by default. Only if necessary, approval should be required. And it could be because of safety, or it could be because of environmental conditions. But otherwise, default is declared. What does it mean? Less work for less administration for authorities, more ownership of the responsibility for safety by pilots, because when they declare, they are responsible. When I declare I have a training school, I am responsible. When I'm declaring as a manufacturer my design, I am responsible. So ownership of safety will be with those who can control the safety. What we want to do more training in declared training organizations. We have our basic instrument rating, multi-engine on our radar. These are the top priorities we want to push into the declared system, so that these trainings can take place at schools. They do not need to take place at the big schools who are training professional pilots, like I know FT Jerez, they are doing a lot of training for commercial pilots, but there could be training for private pilots at the airports, at all airports in Spain. With relation to these instrument approach procedures, we have realized that to get certified for design of instrument procedure, it's a lot of work. And we also want to have a very light certification or declarative process for those who will design these procedures for VFR aerodromes. Because the last part of the flight will be always visual, it will be always VFR. And we talk about declared medical requirements. We are getting older, medical care is getting better, we can drive our cars, while we cannot fly the planes, small planes, with small risk, with the driving license medical, for example. So we are really talking about declared medical. This is a very much expected from the community. We know it. There are some steps to be taken, but that is our ambition. We really want to have a declarative medical system. Again, pilot will understand their risks. They will declare their medical conditions. There will be no check. They will go to the doctor when they see, okay, my conditions, my eyes are getting worse, I need to see my doctor. And we want this responsibility to be with pilot when it is for private flying. The same as with the cars. On a greener, faster, we know that we cannot have electric aircraft only tomorrow. Not possible. Not possible. But we know we need to move in that direction. So what EASA can do in this, we can, for example, have a charging policy, declarative document from aviation regulator telling if you want to install a charger at your airport for training aircraft doing circuits, this is the right investment. This specification, this standard is a good thing. There are a lot of public money for this, but there is a fear because nobody knows which charger to buy in order to be future-proof. How you will? So we will know, we will tell you fast charging policy, you want to have a fast charging, this is a good way to go. You take EASA paper, you make your project, you go to your administration and you ask for budget, we want to install electric charger for aeroplanes at our airport. Imagine very soon, the aircraft will be 1.5 hour endurance, the electric plane. All my flights last 6 years are less than 1.5 hour in motor plane, all my flights. So imagine you fly 1.5 hour, 300 kilometers, you land, you let it charging for 30 minutes, you have a coffee, you prepare your flight back, you do the check, airplane is charged, you bump in and you fly back. So this is what we want to allow, that we have a charging infrastructure at GA aerodromes. I don't talk about iconspicuity, Angel covered all of that. And Flight Direct, there are two dimensions. These instrument approach procedures, which we call aeroplane pins, but there is also another one. There is a big threat of environmental protection. So you have eagles and birds to be protected, and we agree, they need to be protected. But what happens in reality is that the birds are protected all year round, age 24 hours a day, which is not necessary. So we want to develop a European guidelines. This bird or this protected species needs this kind of protection from aviation authorities. So there is a clarity and the local regulators can make a decision. I know there are a lot of problems in Pyrenees on this issue, with paragliding and gliding especially. So how we will be doing it? We are typically at Aero Friedrichshafen. So if you are visiting Friedrichshafen show, Aero, come and visit EASA stands. We are there all the time and we are ready to answer your questions also in Spanish if you need. We have Spanish-speaking colleagues on the spot. Don't hesitate to stop by. We go to missions like this, we talk to you, we tell you what we are doing, and we ask for your help and support of those things we want to do. Here are the main events. I believe this will be published on the event website, but in case you want to see us, we have our stakeholders meetings. We will be at Aero, we will be at France Air Expo in Lyon, and our people from EASA Flying Club as private persons will participate to Gordon Bennett, the oldest competition, aeronautical competition in the world. So our people will be there. A little bit about iConspicuity. I will just tell you why we do it and what was our logic behind. We do it because of safety. We are losing 140 people in 10 years because of collisions in the air. 1 month ago in the Alps, commercial air transport helicopter collided with a small plane. Helicopter 8 people, small plane 2 people. They just touched each other, not seeing. Helicopter landed, aeroplane landed because there was an airport below. No fatality. But imagine what could have happened, 10 fatalities. Can you imagine what would be in the news? It's a big thing. And all happens in uncontrolled airspace, all happens. This is why iConspicuity and ADSL is important. We analyze the problem and these are all the problems. I can tell you, see and avoid, you don't see half of traffic. You see half, but you don't see the other half. Drones, restricted areas for drones here, we cannot live like that. We cannot fly like that. Complex airspace. So we concluded we need to do iConspicuity in a given airspace. We need to be conspicuous, but not only that, you need to receive the information about weather, about airspace change. You have a small sector for GA where a local club opens the sector. Why we cannot do it via the online system that will tell you in the cockpit that sector is now free to fly? TMA Madrid, I know that the TMA is very here. Why we cannot have a dynamic airspace and you fly, you are connected, and you see my airspace for the next 15 minutes is okay, I can fly. I do not need to call the tower. It's good for controllers. It's good for GA. Because they do not want us on frequency, because they need to talk to airlines. So this is iConspicuity. It's not only collision, it's much more, much more. Parachuting. Do we want to have a warning about parachuting in progress? Not all day warning. Now. Parachuting is now. I want to get a warning. Beep, beep, beep. There is parachuting. Okay. I will not go there now. I will wait and land when the parachuting is done. These are important things. And what we need to do we need to do it in connection with U-Space, because U-Space is the future airspace. And for that, we need affordable, simple equipment to be ready. So when we ask the pilots, why you are not buying FLAM and other devices? This was like 5 years ago. Why? They told us, it's proprietary, these things don't talk to each other, and it's very expensive to me. What is expensive to Cessna owner or Piper owner? Or what is not expensive to Cessna is very expensive for paraglider. So what is expensive? It's the pilot who will tell, this is for me okay cost, this is affordable, and this is not. So this is what we realized. We also realized, pilots told us, the airspace complexity is getting crazy. It's more and more complicated to navigate. And those who are older, you know it. 15, 20 years ago, it was different. Less airspace, less restrictions. So we need to overcome it with technology. Angel talked about the U-Space, so it's basically access to airspace without segregation, so you can freely fly. The only requirement, you are conspicuous, you are visible electronically. That's the requirement in Sierra Signal 15 Charlie, so whenever U-Space will be established, what is the most important, You need to be conspicuous. And this is exactly what Angel was telling you. If you are conspicuous, you are okay. You fly like today, no difference. Just tell me I am here. So how to develop this requirement into the technical solution? So you have legal legislation and you need to have a solution. How you be conspicuous? All these problems. We analyzed it needs to be affordable to the pilot, not affordable to the EASA or affordable to Eurocontrol. Pilot will tell us what is affordable. We said one device. And it needs to be technology which is available today. Those who will receive this information to deconflict drones, they said it needs to be minimalistic infrastructure. And we say, yes, that's good. This is what general aviation is calling for. Affordable infrastructure, compatible objectives. And in terms of resources, open source, no proprietary standards, no proprietary systems. Machine readable, no person, and it needs to be, frequency needs to be pan-European. And it needs to work in low level. Radar doesn't work at low level everywhere. So we need dependent surveillance. Also, what was already mentioned, we quickly realized that if you have too many solutions and then they don't talk the same language, they don't understand each other. I speak English. You understand English? Yes, good, thank you, gracias. I don't speak Spanish. So we need to find a common language to communicate. And imagine you have so many systems, everybody having their own language, the systems will not communicate. Also, when you have controller or officer in the loop, when he talks, nobody else can talk. When the pilot talks on the frequency, nobody else can talk. So we need to remove the man out of the loop, and it needs to be digital. Because we need to talk in parallel to everybody all the time. Otherwise it won't work. So our answer was ADSL. It was promoted. One important or two important things for you to know. The only source of information, the only source is GNSS. There is no pressure altitude, there is no sensors other just GNSS, because this was in our mind when we developed ADSL. Paragliding people, they can have watch and they will be visible. This was what we wanted to be eye conspicuity. So we said GNSS only. But also, many pilots are scared not to show registration. They were penalized by the authority. They have got fine, like in overspeeding. And they say, no, I don't want to be conspicuous. You know, this airspace infringement, going into 2 meters in the TMA or 10 meters into the TMA, and then, no, you cannot go there. So they say, no, I switch off my transponder, which is illegal, by the way. We start to understand the problem. The problem is privacy. People will share their position, but they want to have a minimum level of privacy. ADSL provides this privacy. You can be anonymous. You are a plane, no registration. You are a plane. I'm showing I'm here. Don't crash into me. This is what the ADSL allows. We also were not very certain if the mobile phones could be used. And we've got a study, and of course when you ask the study, you get the reply, yes, but. There was no certainty, there was no standardization of, like roaming, you need standardization. And there was question, do we need special device, or can we have a smartphone, smartwatch? The answer is this. Now today, because of EASA involvement, we have European coordinated decision from telecommunication regulators which allow mobile phones to be used in the air. It's a breakthrough, because now it's up to the Spanish regulator to implement this in Spain. I know you are smiling, but if you need help, and if your regulator needs help, you contact the EASA, and we will do our best to support. This is what it is. Aerial mobile services are, as a commercial service, available in those countries. And the yellow countries, they are in progress. Will be very soon. I know Vodafone will have it ready in Spain, and others as well. So it's reality. It's not science fiction. And for the gray ones, we don't have information, basically. So, use space, fine. There is no use space, and use space will not be everywhere tomorrow. Use space will be maybe around Madrid, maybe around Barcelona, maybe somewhere else. Small place, low level. But you need to know one thing, and this is important. The drones can operate without pilots seeing the drone today. Long distance, if they can detect 50% of traffic. So if the drone operator demonstrates to EASA, I can see 50% of traffic, he will get approval to fly in low density airspace in rural areas typically. So imagine outside of cities, rural areas, below 500 feet, there will be drones, and the drones could be as big as 25 kilos, more. It's today reality in Europe and also in Spain. You need to be conspicuous. ADSL is a tool for you. If you do not have, start using Safe Sky app, if that's the budget for you. If you have a little bit more budget, few €100 more, like €300, buy ADSL device and have it with you and fly with it. Because it will protect you, because these drones will be protecting you. I discussed about this privacy problem. We have realized that in some countries, not in Spain, but in some countries, if you enter the TMA or CTR of controlled airport without permission, you get €700 fine. Home, €700. You busted the level because of turbulence, 50 meters inside, you can get €700 fine. Automatic. But when you fly drone in CTR, nobody can chase you, and you don't get any fine. Drone operator is a pilot of drone. General Aviation is pilot. So why GA is having fines, penalties, administrative call, letter from the authority, and the drones hundreds of times every week, thousands of times in Europe, hundreds, thousands of times per month, are penetrating the controlled airspace from the bottom, because people are sometimes careless, sometimes they don't know, sometimes the drone flies a little bit higher than it's supposed to be. So why we have this difference, GA and drones? Not possible. We need to stop it. So what we want to do, in Airoi Friedrichshafen, we hope to announce publicly, and I am announcing it here, iConspicuity Charter or Declaration. What is it? EASA will develop a text on one page with NAAs like AESA, DGAC France, FOCA in Switzerland, who will declare publicly to pilots that if they will be using iConspicuity, and that's radar, transponder, ADS-B, FLARM, pilot aware, ADSL, Safe Sky, all that information will not be treated individually unless you are criminal. No respect. If you are criminal, you are out of the game. Or you are careless. You don't care. Careless behavior is not accepted. But if you make an honest mistake and you do low turn, very late, very low on the ground, or you fly through an environmental protection zone because it was not published, the authorities will look at the data as a whole. There will be no individual treatment, and they will analyze this data not alone. They will analyze the data with hace, they will analyze the data with ANSP, and aérea, they will analyze the data with aérea together, and they will draw the conclusions out of the data as a collaborative process. This is the iConspicuity Charter or Declaration. It's a just culture for GA. It's a right approach. If you are criminal, we don't accept. But if you do mistakes, sometimes you cross the traffic light on red, you don't get automatic fine always. Sometimes it happens. There are circumstances. If you are respecting the rules, you should not be scared of using iConspicuity. We are now doing the research how to make it all interoperable via mobile, SRD and 1090. So we will have a one link proposal out of this research. But what is more important, and it was not mentioned, so I will highlight it here, we want iConspicuity to be used for air traffic services like, you know, transponder mandatory zones. We want transponder mandatory zone to be possible with ADSL, which means smartphone, effectively. We want potentially, when you are required to be conspicuous, or the operator, flight information operator is having a radar picture, we want these operators to recognize also ADSL. So you do not need to report every point. They will see you are flying. You can switch on your registration if you want, and they will see the registration. You can switch it off afterwards, but in that airspace you will switch on the registration, and they will have it like radar picture. So we want to work with them. Search and rescue, Spain is the first one who implemented it. You are the pioneers on search and rescue, ADSL, very good for Spain. So this is the GA flight path. These are the four vision areas, and we hope you will support us. If you will have any questions now or later, please do not hesitate to ask. And I think I'm open to answer the questions now, if there are any, and don't hesitate, you can ask the question in Spanish. We have a translator here who will help us to translate it to English, and then we will translate the answer to you. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have. Any questions? You may have a licensing problem, tell me. You have an airspace problem. You have a noise problem. Don't be shy. If you have questions, ask me. In Spanish also. Angel will help. There is no appetite for questions. Yes, there is. Yes. Microphone. Do we have a microphone? It's coming. Thank you. Gracias. And you can do both English and Spanish, and then we translate so everybody understands.
Hola. Hola. Hello, Vladimir.
Hello.
Thank you for your words. Okay, recently talking about access to restricted areas in the platform, in the airports, we saw that France has published a procedure to make a crew accreditation for pilots, for general aviation pilots, so they can walk alone in the ramp with no handling agent. So now we are trying to apply that model in Spain. And my question is, can EASA make something that make that those accreditations are recognized all around Europe? Is that possible?
And you can do it in Spanish, so people, if they don't understand.
Vale, la pregunta es que recientemente hemos visto un documento francés donde la Dirección General de Aviación Civil francesa permite la emisión de tarjetas de tripulación a los pilotos de aviación general para que puedan caminar por las plataformas de los aeropuertos que tienen zona restringida de seguridad sin necesidad de acompañamiento, sin necesidad de la contratación de un agente handling. Estamos replicando ese modelo en España, intentando que la autoridad española nos emita estas tarjetas. Y mi pregunta para Vladimir es si EASA puede hacer algo para que las tarjetas que se emiten en Francia y las que se emiten en España y las que se emiten en toda Europa tengan validez por toda Europa. Esta es mi pregunta.
Yes, so very good question, by the way. We were made aware of this like 6 months ago, about this problem. And indeed, it's a problem, and it's a security problem for Europe. Because in some countries, there is no authorizations at small airports. You come to the regional or large airport, and then you have to pay hefty fees, very high fees, because you are escorted. And every aerodrome, they have different authorization process. It's impossible for pilots to have every airport, even in the same country, to have the same thing. So the French authority, they came forward with solution for France. The problem of that is that many pilots in the vicinity of the border, they fly to Spain, they fly to Germany, they fly to Belgium, and this is not recognized. We have discussed this with our stakeholders, and what we want, and we informed the national aviation authorities about the problem, and they recognized the problem, like EASA in Spain and others, they acknowledged this is a problem. Now we contacted the European Commission because this security regulation is European Commission. And we are discussing if we and how we can create a pan-European framework that will allow for recognition of these approvals for the airside. And it will be not mandatory for the license, or maybe it will be that if you are a pilot, if you get a pilot license, EASA pilot license, you will be recognized as and that will be your certificate. I don't know, but that's what we want to develop, something very light, very simple, that will authorize you to use your national authorization also in other countries for airside operating and going to the general aviation terminal, for example. I hope this answers your question. Other questions? Everybody is ready for lunch. If not, muchas gracias. Thank you very much for your hospitality, and I will still be around, and if you have questions, stop by. Thank you. Gracias.